All right, I'm building up my arrangement. I brought in a guitar solo and I've copied some parts and muted so things are dropping in and out, and it's sounding pretty good. Now, in this section of videos, which is all about arranging your music, one of the things that we often do, and in this case, it's not so bad, but in a lot of cases, we'll have a lot of edits and things can get messy. It's hard to grab and drag and move things. And you want to consolidate a lot of the edited parts into contiguous audio files just to commit to them and also make them easier visually to see what's going on. Now, to do that, we can quickly bounce an instrument part to an audio track. Like, for example, this bass part, I've got some of these patterns that I developed in the pattern videos a while back. And then I have the actual part that I recorded and it's chopped up. And here it's copied, the longer version. And I want to use those longer versions. Then I went back to a pattern. So maybe I want to consolidate all this. So what I can do is select all of these events. And I'm just going to shift click to select them all, or I can just swipe across like that. And from under the event menu, I'm going to choose bounce selection, and the shortcut is Command B and Control B on Windows. So with this, it's doing it automatically for me. All right, so what it's done is rendered the instrument part to a new audio event, and it's placed it at the correct timeline position on a new audio track. In this case, it's from bar 1, but I could have selected a few of them if I wanted. Now, the original instrument part, the volume level and the pan settings, in this case, it's center, and any insert effects, in this case, there weren't any, but they're all rendered to the new file. So this looks kind of quiet because it's been rendered at minus 6.5 dB. So the new audio track is created without inserts and with the volume at unity, but it's got that kind of offset burnt into it. And the instrument part is muted. Now, this works across multiple instrument tracks. A new audio track is going to be created for each. Now, this is only helping me somewhat because what it's done is it's created all these individual audio events corresponding to these individual instrument parts. But let's say I want to consolidate everything into one new audio event. I'm going to hit Command Z to undo, and we're back to our original selection of all the individual instrument parts. So what I'm going to do is select them. And you'll recall our old friend G, the key command for merging events. I'm going to hit G, and now they're all merged into one. My patterns become regular data and merged in. Let's just listen. It's all there, and now I can do that same thing, and it'll consolidate it and render it as one contiguous audio file. So with that selected, I'm going to hit Command B, and it's going to go through and do it. And there it is. There's my one audio event, and the instrument track is muted. Now I'm going to hit Command Z one more time because I want to render it with this volume full. I want to have that headroom. So I Command click to snap it up to Unity, and I want to have that headroom on the audio track for when I'm mixing. So I'm going to do that one more time, Command B, and now it's going to render it again, this time at a louder level with that Unity volume, and I'll just bring this fader down. So I've got one consolidated audio part right now, and this is muted. So what I can do is in my track list, maybe hide this synth bass part because I don't really need it. I don't want to get rid of it in case I want to go back and edit or have a problem, but I can hide it. And I can do the same thing with the organ track. And you'll notice that this one's muted, and we'll see that when I bounce, the muted one is going to be silent. So same thing here. I'm going to bring this volume up by command clicking it. I'm going to hit Command B. And there we go. There's our new part. And you can see that the muted region was rendered as silence. Now I'm going to hit Command Z, and this time I'm going to just select these active ones. I'm going to hit G to merge them, and now Command B to bounce that. And this way I'm going to leave this part alone. The instrument parts are muted, and I can hide it in my track list. Now with audio files, it works a little bit differently. We can use Command B and Control B on Windows to clean up all the edits and render the effects. But the difference is that when we bounce the selection, it's unaffected by track volume and pan and insert settings because it's only dealing with the audio events exactly as they exist in the arrange window. So with that in mind, so here's the organ track. Let me just bring the volume down so I'm in the ballpark for when I start mixing. So with that in mind, here I can render it, but it's really not going to do anything in terms of preserving the volume or insert effects. And again, I don't have any at the moment, so it's kind of academic. But what I can do is merge the audio part. I'm going to get rid of this one that's muted over here. And then I'm just going to select all of these, and I can hit G, and there I've got that merged audio part. And I can always right click and go under audio and dissolve the audio part if I want to get back to the individual events. So I'm going to hit Command Z and undo that and leave it as is. And just a reminder, we can also open the browser and take an audio event, which is what this is now, and drag it into the files browser. And with the Alt key, we can determine if we want to save it as a WAV file with rendered insert effects, or as an audio loop. I'm just going to close that up. Another thing we can do is we can create a new audio track from a selected instrument or audio track, and it's going to include all the insert effects. And we do this by selecting Bounce to New Track from the event menu. And the shortcut is Control-Alt-B or Option-Command-B in the Mac. So for example, let's say I selected this, and I'm going to shift-click here for these impact hand claps. If I wanted to bounce those all together, I could go here and go Bounce to New Track, and it'll bounce just what's selected with all the insert effects. And I can also get there by right-clicking on one of these selected events, and from here, I can get to that Bounce to New Track, same function. Now we have Mix Down Selection. Let's talk about that. That function is good for creating a submix. Like let's say I have a bunch of backup vocal audio events. I can select them all and go to Mix Down Selection, which we get to from here as well, and it'll render it to one new audio file, all mixed. Now there's another thing we can do. I'm going to just hit T to call up a new audio track quickly. And there it is. What I can do is take an instrument part like this impact hand clap and simply drag it onto an audio track, and it renders it. So that's a super easy way. So we've looked at a number of functions here for cleaning up after editing and arranging. We've looked at bounce selection, bounce to new track, mix down selection, and merging events. We'll continue with more in the next video.